All right, I appreciate Jonas coming on. We're going to start off with the new regional rankings that came out on the Division II side of things from the NCAA. And remember, the way this works is that there are 4 super regions. You're going to have 1 through 10, the top 10 teams from that the committee selects in each super region. That doesn't mean they're all in the playoffs. Only the top 7 teams in each super region make it into the playoffs. There's a 28-team pool, and then you have the 4 first-round teams that get a bye. So there's really the 24 teams playing in that first week of the playoffs. But if we take a look at these super region rankings, there have certainly been some shakeups. There have also been a lot of things that stayed the same. Slippery Rock and Tiffin being on the top of super region 1 is one of those things. What you will see in this is that the PSAC right now, as far as super region 1 is concerned, which, let's be honest, you have the GMAC and the NE10, and it looks like the MEC. It's not maybe the toughest super region out of the bunch, but the PSAC right now is dominating. Slippery Rock, you've got California, Kutztown, Shepherd, East Stroudsburg. Like, you could just go down the list. The PSAC has a lot of depth this year. The committee, it seems to be, they are respecting that. Frostburg State, we're going to talk about them being upset. They hang around at number 9, but now they're on the outside looking in. Not a team that I would expect to now make the playoffs because of their loss to Glenville State. New Haven picks up a big dub, but again, still on the outside looking in. We've got Kutztown playing Slippery Rock for the PSAC championship this week. That should be very interesting. Super Region 2. Again, a lot has kind of stayed the same in this one. We saw Lenore Ryan get knocked down a peg last week after their loss to Wingate. They bounced back in a big fashion. They're still a very efficient offense and team in general. Benedict, Delta State still stand atop, although Valdosta and West Florida from the Gulf South very much still in the mix. The team that I'm kind of excited about is that number 7 right there, Virginia Union. We're going to talk about their game here shortly, and they are still very much in this. At 9-1, they control their own destiny. They're going to be playing that team at number 6, Fayetteville State, in the CIAA championship this coming week for the conference title. And then you've got some squads like Limestone, Miles, Mars Hill lost a double overtime game. That's going to have them basically out of the playoff race this week. Limestone with a big win over Barton. They need a little bit of help. Virginia Union might be able to give them that. I don't know if any of the other teams on this list will lose, but Limestone still very much has a chance, even though they are a 3-loss squad. They might be able to take this Fayetteville State spot. We will see. And then Super Region 3, which in my opinion is probably the most depth in all of the super regions. Am I biased? I'm a GLIAC guy? Maybe. But look at the teams that are coming out of the GAC right here. Between Harding and Ouachita Baptist, you also have Southern Arkansas now sneaking into the mix at number 10. This part of the super region to me is stacked. Number 1 through 6, like, we're talking about world beaters. And that's not to discredit Missouri Western, Davenport, and Indy. But 1 through 6 right here, I think that's the best depth in any of the super regions that we've seen. Harding is playing on a different level than anyone else right now. Grand Valley, even though they opened up the year with a loss, has been playing lights out. They get a chance at Davenport, who's number 8 this week. I expect them to handle business. You've got Pitt State, Central Missouri, MIAA contenders over there, Ferris State and Ouachita. There's a lot to like here. And for Missouri Western, that win over Pitt State is going to solidify them a spot. I don't see Davenport taking down GV this weekend. I agree with kind of their spot here. So the question was, at least coming into this, can Davenport be a 2-loss GLIAC team losing to Ferris and Grand Valley and still sneak into the playoffs like they did last year? After the Missouri Western win, I think not. Because you have Ferris State, who already took them down. Grand Valley, if they do handle business against Davenport, has locked up their position. Pitt State and Central Missouri will handle business, as well as Harding and Ouachita, who have already played each other. And then you have Missouri Western, who, if they take care of business against Southern, this region seems to be locked up to me, and I think Davenport is going to be the first squad on the outside looking in, which kind of disappointing for a team that has had a lot of success this year, has won a lot of really tough games in great fashion. But when it comes down to it, you're still just not at the top level of the GLIAC. I could absolutely bite my tongue a week from now, like 5 days from now, if they come out and stun Grand Valley. And if they do, I would love for someone to bring up this clip. I don't see it happening, but this Davenport team might be in a really tough spot in this super region. And in Super Region 4, another region with some great depth because you have the NSIC in here. I think that adds a lot of it. But not to discredit the RMAC, the top 2 teams, Mines and Western Colorado, both playing a different brand of football right now. They look incredibly solid. You got Central Washington and UTPB, who have both been playing lights out as well. I do believe they have a matchup this week in the last of the year against Central Washington. They get a chance at Permian Basin. I'm excited to see that one. And then I guess I should say the reason I'm excited to see that is you have a very prolific passing offense. We've talked a lot about those Falcons over there against a really strong secondary from the Wolves and from Central Washington. They've got some guys like Tanner Volk in that secondary that are going to make plays that can generate takeaways very quickly. So we'll see how that one shakes out between number 3 and 4. Then you have the NSIC mix that comes into play here with Bemidji, Augustana, Minnesota State. Mankato is interesting to me. They just won a shootout against Winona, and now they have to win and get in against Duluth this next week. If they win that game, I don't see a reason why they get denied from the playoffs, but that's not a gimme. Duluth is a very competent football team. Wayne State, Nebraska on the outside looking in here in this region. Angelo State and Kingsville, I don't see them really making a push to get in here, but that all depends. Can Minnesota State take care of business? I do believe Augustana plays Bemidji State this last week. I will double check that, but I do believe they play this last week to decide the NSIC, and that could be a game that, I mean, I don't really know which way that goes, to be honest with you. Here, let me double check that real quick. I thought that was the case. Yes, so that is home for Augustana. Bemidji State coming to town. That's the biggest game of the year for the NSIC. That is deciding the conference champion. Now, both those teams, one loss. Does losing in that kind of environment bump you from the playoffs? I hope not. Both those teams are playoff quality and caliber teams. I don't know how the committee thinks. I'm not on it, thankfully. That would probably not be good. But that's kind of the super region deal as far as Division II goes.